Welcome, Maven, and we've got a great subject for today. Wednesday is Quantum Science and Research Day. So yes, it's going to be really, really good. I love this topic. It's probably my favorite topic of the week. So anyway, let's get the PowerPoint started. Yes, so thank you so much for joining me, even on replay. And remember, across social media, I'm the Maven at 2017. And that's across all the social media. You can find me there under that name. Okay, the PowerPoint is getting ready. And also need to be able to see the Word document at the same time. So we'll see how that works. And my mom is calling. Okay, that's gone. Anyway, yes, so here we are getting ready. And thank you so much for watching. So this is going to be really, 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 really good. All right, so. What? The TV shut off by itself. Let's see if it ever comes back on. Da-da-da-da, drum roll, drum roll. Oh, you know what? Not plugged in. It's going to be one of these days. All right. There we go. In progress. And all right. Maybe I should have started this a minute later. Let me come back out of here. Deconstructed. There it is. Okay. So we've got that. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're ready to go. Thank you for hanging in there with me for just a minute. So I've got a quote to start with. And why isn't it PowerPoint slideshow? Okay, there we go. So I do want to mention before we get started that this is the weekly schedule that we have. And hey, BTS 16, thank you for joining. And so every day of the week we do something a little bit different. And there's the schedule. Today's Wednesday. It is Quantum Research Day. So we're going to start with a quote. Whatever words we utter should be chosen with care, for people will hear them and be influenced by them, for good or ill. And this is attributed to Buddha. Okay, and why I chose this quote will become clear. So are quantum science and medicine and health related? Well, we're going to look at that. And of course, when I'm talking about medicine, maybe not so much the modern medicine as things like alternative medicine, Eastern medicine, metaphysical, holistic, homeopathic, acupuncture, acupressure, biorhythm, new age, mystic, esoteric. Okay, all these words kind of talk about health from a different perspective, right? And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's just crazy phooey stuff, right? Well, is it? What's quantum? have to say about it. In the past several years, science has been making some amazing discoveries. I'm going to be sharing some of them with you today. So the concept and treatment of health outside the mainstream is maybe really spot on, as the British say. So we're going to go back to 1994. And the Japanese researcher, Dr. Masaru Emoto, he tried to prove that snowflakes would not be unique in their crystalline structure because they all have the same atomic properties, right? H2O. So this was what he set out to do, because when you're doing science, you've got a thesis oh my gosh, there's a word. There's a word for it, that the thing you're trying to prove, a theory, right? And you're going to research to see whether or not this theory is correct. And so his theory was that because water, H2O, is the same atomic properties, that they would, when it freezes, they should all be the same. Every snowflake is individual, like a fingerprint kind of thing. He didn't buy it. All right. So what did he discover? Did he discover they're all the same? Well, as you can see behind me here, no, it's not really all the same. And how did he do his research? Okay. He began to take water samples from different sources, city tap water, rivers, lakes, and he noticed that they did not all form beautiful crystals, but the pristine water sources were stunning. So what we've got here on this side, Sambu Ichi Yusi spring water, very beautiful. And then the Shimanto River, which is referred to as the last clean river in Japan. Okay, that's pretty nice too. Then you've got Antarctic ice, because he kind of expanded, and that's Antarctic ice. So that's pretty nice. Over here is the fountain in Lourdes in France. This one is by Wako Lake, the largest lake at the center of Japan, where there's a lot of pollution. Ooh, so not so pretty. This is the Yodo River in Japan. No crystalline structure at all. Same with the untreated distilled water. And the Fujiwara Dam, before offering a prayer. And this one, after offering a prayer. How can the water change by offering a prayer? Right? And a lot of people in science don't even believe in God, right? So, you know, what would a prayer do? So this opened up some really interesting further research, right? The structure of the water, as he found, was changed by the intention focused on it. So I'm going to show you another slide here, talking about the intentions, right? So he went further with his research. This intention is compassion. It made the water crystals look like this. This is when concentrating on thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, turned the water crystals like this. This is wisdom, 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 wisdom. And this is before and after a Buddhist prayer, right? So this is before, this is after. We kind of saw that in the last one. This is water when you're playing heavy metal music. This is if you're thinking, I will kill you, I will kill you. This is you fool, you fool. Okay? So the words and the thoughts that we have, if they can affect water, why can't they affect us? Right? You know, the Earth's surface is 71% water. Our body is 60% water. Our lungs are 83% water. Our muscles and kidneys are 79% water. Our brain and our heart are 73% water. Our skin is 64% water. And our bones are 31% water. That's a lot of water. And if words can change water, doesn't it make sense that they can change our body? So, what is the purpose of medicine when we're sick? Medicine, in its simplest form, is to change what's bad and make it good again, right? If I've got allergies, I take medicine to stop the symptoms, the runny nose, itchy eyes, whatever, right? If you got cancer, you're taking chemotherapy to try and kill the bad cells in order to make the good cells better. Hello, Erwin Massey, thanks for joining. All right. We just talked about Dr. Emoto and his experiments with water. And all right. So now we're moving on to quantum entanglement. Remember that? We talked about in that last week. If you missed it, go watch the replay. There is no time and space for two things that have been connected, that have been entangled. Okay? So therefore, healing can take place when between two people with no time and space barrier, as long as they are connected. Right? You ever hear healers, you know, maybe they can if they connect with you, there's no time and space. Right? So several experiments have been done with plants. And a pioneer in this was Cleve Baxter. This is a picture of Cleve Baxter and his stuff. Now, he was actually an interrogation specialist for the CIA. So he hooked people up to electrical monitors and, you know, check their heart rate and things like this. You can tell if they're lying. People can beat a lie detector test if they can stay calm when they're lying, or in the case of psychopaths, they really, really believe the lie is true. Then you're not telling a lie because you really believe it, right? So lie detectors, we understand the principle of how they work, right? So he was bored in his office one day in the 1960s. He decided to like hook up his plants. Okay. He discovered that the plants in his office reacted to thoughts with intention directed at them. All he wanted to do, really, and hello, Saywat 53, all Cleve Baxter really wanted to do by hooking up the plants was to see how long it took water to climb up their stems. It's amazing how sometimes you discover something totally unexpected when you're doing scientific research, right? So he hooks up the lie detector type equipment to the plants to see, I'm bored. How long does it take water to climb up the stem of a plant? This ought to be interesting. And because the plants were hooked up to the electrodes, Baxter noticed a response when he had a thought about burning the leaves. You can read the whole story on the internet. It's all there if you want all the deep details. But he had a thought about the leaves of the plant burning. And he continued his further experiments because there was a reaction in the electrodes. He said, well, that's crazy. Plants are plants. They don't think. How can a plant know that I was thinking about burning its leaves? Right? But he did more and more and more research, which you can look up for yourself. And he discovered that the plants react to both good and bad thoughts, your intentions. Blows vegans out of the water. If bless you if you're a vegan, you know, and surely animals shouldn't be treated cruelly. I don't mind eating them, but they should be killed humanely, right? But plants experience terror. And so if the whole purpose of being a vegetarian or a vegan is because you don't want to kill something, you know what? You're killing something when you eat a plant. All right. Moving on. Does it seem possible? It's the latest science. Okay. Biophotons. Moving on to biophotons. I'm taking you on a journey here. If you missed the beginning, then watch by replay, you can skip about the first 2 or 3 minutes when I get some technical stuff. But once we get rolling in the subject, we're moving. Speed of light, maybe, because we're talking about biophotons. Okay, present in all living things. Photon, light, bio, life, biophotons, these life photons, right? They're present in everything. So the German physicist Fritz Albert Popp discovered biophotons in the 1970s. All right. Now, his discovery supported the Einstein-Bose condensate, EBC theory. All right. Which recently was found to be true, right? In just the last couple of years. This means that a teeny weeny subatomic particle called a boson, I'll show you something about bosons in a minute. A boson, which is a subatomic particle, can also act as a wave at absolute zero temperature and is so named zero-point energy. If you know anything about D-Wave and the quantum computers over at CERN, and then they've sold a few more to some other places in, California and other countries, they have the D-Wave computer in order to entangle the, I don't know if they're using bosons or what, but the subatomic particles that create quantum computers are based on, they have to get it to this absolute zero temperature. Now, so where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? We are going someplace. Get rid of that. Phone call coming in. Okay. Einstein said the field is the only reality. Oh, wait. Before I tell you about that, this is actually the atom, right? In the middle of the atom, phone call. I'm busy. I'm live here. I'm live here. Like I'm walking here, right? All right. In the middle of the atom is a nucleus, right? The nucleus has got the protons, right? Now, protons, neutrons, right? Inside that, even smaller, is the quark. And then even smaller than the quark is, I had to add it because this one didn't have it, is the boson over here. Even smaller than that. And, oh, here's the electron. So the atom has electrons going around the nucleus, right? Okay, so that's subatomic particles for you, in case you didn't know. Get everybody up to speed. All right. The field is the only reality. Field, what field? A baseball field? A magnetic field? What's Einstein talking about when he said the field is the only reality? Well, if you think about our life force, Oriental medicine calls it chi, the paths called meridians, the Ayurveda term, which is more Indian, is prana, with paths called nadis and chakras, right? And homeopathy calls it a vital force energy. It's all the same thing. And you know what quantum science calls it? The field. Yes, the field. So let's refresh on some basic science before moving forward. Science recognizes all things in the universe as having only one of two forms. All right? Particles and waves. We just mentioned those. But that means not at the same time. Okay? Oh, but didn't I just say that the boson can act like a wave and a particle? Exactly. The implications are incredible. I mean, this like blew science away. All right. So what's the difference between particles and waves? I'm going to tell you. Particles have form, okay? While waves are unformed. They're empty of form, okay? Particles are matter, while waves are energy, all right? Particles are observable at points in time and space, while waves are thoughts and sounds and feelings and things like this, okay? Particles in time relate to the mind, and in space relate to the body. Particles in time relate to the mind, and in space relate to the body, okay? While waves relate to the soul, okay? So you've got time. A particle in time is the mind. A particle in space is the body. And waves are the soul. I have somebody calling me that I'm supposed to meet at 10 o'clock, okay? And it's 8:47. So sorry, I cannot answer the phone right now. All right. The particles are I, the waves are we. All right. Let's move on to waves and energy, okay? Because this is where science gets really, really exciting, all right? So there are 4 types of dense energy. Science calls it dense energy. 4 types: thermal, electrical, magnetic, and gravitational. These are the 4 types of dense energy. But there is one more type of energy that's barely detectable. So it's called subtle energy, right? And subtle energy is the most powerful energy, more powerful than thermal, electric, gravity, or even magnetic energy, okay? Could it be that subtle energy is the life force that's flowing through our bodies and throughout the universe, independent of time and space? Based on what we've learned, could it be? I believe so, yes. This is what science is discovering, what quantum science is discovering. All right. So during the last century, health and science has been focused on the body, modern medicine, the body, how it functions. What can we do to alter the functions or to support the functions, right? Everything is like a separate piece of a machine. As we were learning last week in the Industrial Revolution, everything just became parts of a machine. Okay, well, also our body and medical science was thought of as the same way. You got something wrong with your heart, let's fix the heart. You got something wrong with the nose, let's fix your nose. You got something wrong with your teeth, your kidneys, you got a broken bone. We're only going to deal with that part of the machine, right? But your brain receives stimuli from our 5 senses, right? I think this is like elementary school. Our 5 senses, sight is one, nose, smelling, tasting, hearing, and touching, right? Those are the 5 senses. So stimuli come in through these 5 senses. Right now, you're hearing me, you're seeing me, you're not smelling me. And our brain processes this data that it's receiving from the senses, right? So if the data passes through our hippocampus, then you make decisions about what. Hey, Steve! Hey, Steve. You're going to have to watch replay to see like all the medical science research leading up to this point. But, okay. So if the data from your 5 senses gets to your brain through the hippocampus, then you're making decisions about whether something is good or bad or neutral. It's your logic, right? But if the stimuli coming from your five senses goes through the amygdala, then your responses are triggered, such as fear or anger or crying. So that instant reaction, a trigger, the things that came from your senses to your brain went through the amygdala. If you're thinking about something logically, is it good, is it bad, it's going through the hippocampus, okay? So experience, these stimuli, the things that you experience in life, guides the conclusions that you make about things, right? You experience something, it goes through the hippocampus, you make a decision about whether you believe it or not, or whether it's a good thing for you or a bad thing for you, or whether it doesn't matter at all, okay? And our DNA is also it's reacting to experiences, okay? We've talked about the water experiments. We've talked about the plant experiments. We've talked about the biophotons and the subtle energy, okay? Well, now take that and let's relate it to DNA. Hi, Josana. Okay. I can't re-go over everything, so you'll have to watch the replay to find out how we got to this point. So remember the water experiment with the crystals that I talked about in the beginning. They were the proof, the science is there that the water was changed through the intentions, right? And the intentions are the subtle energy that we were just talking about with bosons and waves and particles, that subtle energy wave, all right? That's the intention. It goes out through what we're thinking, and it affects the water. It affects the plant, right? Scientific experiments have proven that. So what does this do to our DNA, right? If you want to call it prayer, if you want to call it good vibes, if you want to call it happy thoughts, let's have our happy thoughts. You can call it anything you want, but the scientific proof is there. It exists, it works, and it can even change your DNA. Remember, we're 60-something% water, just like the earth is 71% water, right? So unlike particles, which can only receive stimulation, right? A particle can receive stimulation and then react to it. Waves can actually transmit. Okay, so it's not only receiving stimulation, it's also transmitting stimulation. The waves, these thought waves that we're taught, the subtle energy, okay? You are constantly interacting with all the other energies around you. My cat is right here on the table. You can't see him, but he's here. He's relaxed. If I started to get like really angry and upset, he'd like jump off the table and run away because he's going to react to that energy that I have. You know, we're all interacting. You ever hear people with green thumbs say you should talk to your plants? Oh, that's crazy. Like they can hear you. They don't have ears. You know what? When you talk to your plants, your intention, those thoughts are going through the subtle energy to the plant. It's been right all along. And quantum has proved it. Right? So, knowing that your intentions can become reality. Is that amazing? Think about that. Your intentions can become reality. Modern society would have you believe that we're just like victims. We're victims of everything in the world that happens around us, right? If good things happen, then our life is going to be positive. I've got money. I've got a good job. I've got a good car. I've got a good family. I've got friends. I've got Periscope, right? So life is good, right? And then if bad things happen, then my life is going to be negative. if I'm poor, if I have bad luck, right? If crime happens to me, if I'm in a bad relationship, right? If you believe it, it will be true. 100% guaranteed. If you believe it, it will be true. But as we just learned, you can change it. Now, think about the DNA we were talking about in the subtle energy. When you have all those negative things and the trauma, it settles in your DNA. There's a word called miasma, which is like a generational trauma, right? It's real. Your DNA, and then you changes, and then you pass that on to your kids, and the trauma goes with it. But you're not stuck in the cycle. You don't have to be stuck in it. DNA can be rewritten. Wow. Go get a DNA test today, and then practice getting rid of this trauma, making positive things in your life, then get a DNA test 5-10 years from now. But that's the only way to prove it. Could happen, right? Your physical health is directly connected to the field. Einstein was right. Remember what he quoted? If you weren't here during that part of the show, Einstein said, "The field is the only reality." Wow. So what are you going to do with this information? You know, the flow of your energy, the subtle energy, it changes if it can change water, if plants can react to it, how are we going to react to other people in our lives and our pets and our plants and everything in the world around us? How are we going to, you're not just a victim. You can choose to have positive thoughts and positive energy. And I'm going to go into that in another show about the heart and the field that we generate and how that can affect other people. That's for another show. All right. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Words matter. Words matter. Look up Dr. Emoto and his water experiments, as you saw in the beginning of the show, or you can just replay, but you can research it yourself. When they thought, thank you, love, wisdom, compassion, the water crystals were beautiful. And when it was like, I'm going to kill you, you fool, you're stupid, things like that, the water crystals are ugly. Be careful. Your words matter, especially if you're a ranter. I rant sometimes, you know. And Steve, I think you're the one person that's still listening. I want to compliment you with my words because you compliment other people. You always have such positivity in your Periscope scopes. So I encourage anybody to look up Steve from Florida, and his sunset scopes. And if you're watching this on replay, obviously, then, you know, look him up. You're welcome. It's true. And if somebody is in the chat and they express that they've got some kind of problem, you're always there encouraging people, you know. And so I want to compliment you on your positivity, and you know, that's what it's about. Because even just on Periscope, you say one positive thing to somebody, then that could make their day, the rest of their day. They could, the next person that they see, they can share a little bit of that positivity too. That subtle energy, that wave just keeps going and rippling. So that's what I want to leave you with. And if I want to say thank you to everyone who's watched this video. And if you watch the replay, you know, fast forward the first 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of technical delay. All right. But anyway, follow me, like, subscribe across the social media. And if you really want to, become a sponsor on Patreon. So that's it for today. I've really enjoyed being here with everybody. I think my cat is on my mouse. Isn't that funny? The cat is on my mouse. There's my mouse. Okay. So we're going to end for today. And thank you so much. And tomorrow is Week in History. So be sure to join. Bye.